With inspirations from Judge Dredd, Iron Man, and Jesus himself, 1987's Robocop is a very special film. We will discuss why I think it's special. I will also talk about why this Robocop game is a must-play. And of course, we will talk about what else? Toys. Sit back, relax, and watch an all-new Toy Games. Toy Games! Yeah! It's you and me, baby! Toy Games! I can't take it anymore! It's Toy Games! Rather than just review the film, I'm going to dissect and try to figure out what makes it so special. Because there's a lot of Robocop stuff out there. There's been a TV show, a cartoon, comics, sequels, of course, and of course the 2014 remake, which we will discuss as well. None of them captured the original's magic, and I think I know why. And I think we have to start with the film's director, Paul Verhoeven. This is his second U.S. film. His first film, well, I'm not going to say it tanked. I'm not even going to say it's not that good. It's worth watching. But after that film, he wanted to, of course, make money. And people turned down. Other directors turned down Robocop. I think David Cronenberg was rumored to have done it. There's interviews with him, and he's admitted that he's glad Paul did it. And I think the reason is, well, I know the reason is, Paul Verhoeven has a very unique opinion on the U.S. It's an exaggerated opinion. And let's listen to some actors talk about working with Paul, and that'll kind of clear up some things of what I mean by that.
Is Dutch, and Joost Vacano, the cinematographer, is German. And
I don't believe that Paul knew during that evening that bitches was a pejorative term for females.
we were getting ready to do the scene, and so we were kind of blocking it out, and Paul says, yeah, Cartwright says, bitches leave, then the bitches leave, and bitches, then you leave when he says that. And then he says, no, wait, bitches, don't leave, wait. Jost, what do you think? Should bitches leave when he says bitches leave, or should they wait for him to make a motion? Jost goes, the bitches should leave. Yeah, bitches. Bitches, you leave. Miguel and I are just sitting there cracking up. And the bitches, they didn't seem to have a problem with it at all. You know, they were like, okay, fine, sure.
Very good, thank you, bitches. Very good, that's a wrap on the bitches. Thank you very much, bitches.
How you doing? Bitches leave.
Gee, Bobby.
So now you have this Dutch director who sees Americans of sort of over the top, sort of exaggerated human beings. And I don't think the humor in the movie is intentional. It's called dark humor. I really think it's just the way Paul sees Americans. If you look at films after this, Basic Instinct, Total Recall, Starship Troopers, they're not funny films. They're not comedies at all. But there are funny parts to it that we as Americans see funny because it's over the top. Take for when Robocop is breaking up a scene where two men are assaulting a female, and then he shoots her through the dress into the man's genitals. That's funny to Americans. That's probably not funny to most people in other countries. Just the way we are. Just the way, in the 80s especially. And of course, you see here what that scene was made into an action figure. Just to further the point of how over the top and funny that is. You see the commercials for the car. It's called the 6000 SUX. The 6000 sucks because cars are overmade, overmanufactured, and Paul had this unique take on this film. It's funny, if you want to see what a Cronenberg and Weller movie would be like, check out Naked Lunch. It features them too, and it's kind of like Robocop is like our Murphy is on acid, tripping balls. It's very unique, very different, sort of worth watching just for how strange it is. There's nothing strange about Robocop. Robocop is a brisk 1 hour and 42 minutes which I think is very crucial and important to why it's so good. You know, I just watched Phantom Menace a week ago. That's about 2 hours and 13 minutes. If that movie was a half hour shorter and got right to the point in some areas, I feel it would have been better. Robocop doesn't waste your time, and it could have. Early on, Murphy talks about TJ Laser and how his son watches that show, and he wants to learn to twirl the gun on his hand to make his son happy. That's all you need to know, that Murphy was a good dad. He pays attention to his son. In 2014, the movie dwelled on flashbacks and going back to the son and the wife. Completely ruined the tone of the film. In the original Robocop, 20 minutes in, Murphy brutally dies. 30 minutes in, we hear that amazing score. He's in the car. We are now going along with Murphy. And in other films after this, Robocop makes them good. Robocop makes them worth watching. In this original film, Robocop is the icing on the cake. You see, we have this revenge story, and it's kind of a psychological mystery. But we know what happened to Robocop, and we're rooting for him to maybe find out. And he gets flashbacks, and he thinks about his wife, and he thinks about probably one of the most underrated villains of all time. And I feel that way because this guy, he's like a math teacher or like your dad, and he's playing this complete badass. Kurtwood Smith plays Clarence Boddicker to a perfect villain to a T. We first see him in this truck speeding away from Murphy as a police officer in Lewis, also a great character. And when he says, "Bobby, can you fly?" It lets you know this guy is ruthless. There's so many little things in this film that make it a perfect recipe. In the very beginning, when they're pushing around that guy and Ed 209 shoots him, the one of the corporate guys for OCP, he screams, "Don't touch him! Don't touch him!" And that just sets this tone early on. Like, things are exaggerated, but things are serious. Nothing is handled lightly. Crime is over the top. They need to make this Ed 209 to stop crime, to eventually build this Delta City dream they have. And that goes awry. Murphy is killed, and right there, 20 minutes in, like I said, we have Robocop. And if it was just a murder mystery with Murphy and he kind of just lost his arm and lost his memory, it would still be a fun watch. Like I said, Robocop is the icing on that cake. Paul Verhoeven and the script is so tight. We don't go back to see his family. We only see his family through flashbacks. Of course, we have little things sprinkled in like the "I'll buy that for $1" guy. Even that isn't explained. We're just shown enough to know that people think this character is funny. It does such a good job with restraint and punching in the action scenes where they need to be there. A lot of films today, like, it's always action, 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 or they try to force in a love aspect. You know, Murphy isn't in love with Lewis. That's his partner. The cops are excited that this guy is their partner. And you are excited for them as well to work with Robocop. It's a very, very slick way of getting you hyped up in the film early on when they show all the cops running to watch Murphy or Robocop shoot the gun. You are pumped with him. Now, wait, there's some interference. What the?
Magnavolt.
Lethal response.
Nuke 'em. Get them before they get you. Another quality home game from Buck. Big is back because bigger is better. 6000 SUX, an American tradition.
That's hilarious, John. Now over here on the Weathertron 3000, we have all kinds of fucking weather going on in Sheboygan. So what you're telling me is, I'm not here to do the weather? I gotta do this fucking Robocop bullshit? Alright, let me get to my fucking set. I'll be back. And here we are back in my studio. But we gotta start at the beginning, fam. So here we go. If we look on the back of this exclusive Robocop, which we will speak about in a moment, we get a look at all the Robocops that came out originally from NECA in these clamshell packages I have right here. So you got your regular Robocop and you got your battle-damaged Robocop, and they included a spring-loaded holster which would break. And then there was this sucker, and it was a Toys R Us exclusive back in the day. And they couldn't give these fucking things away. But one of my good friends got me this on one of my birthdays, and I have had it ever since, and I love it. Which leads us to this sweet baby. NECA got around to reissuing it. It's a beautiful figure. We're just gonna take a quick look at the box, spin it around. We get that Peter Weller likeness on this one, and this was a treat. And then NECA went ahead after that and made this beautiful bad boy right here. This is basically the resting chair, and we'll take a look at it in a minute. And bringing us up to date, we have the Alex J. Murphy figure, and this figure's dynamite, has the likeness of Peter Weller spot on. And here's a look at all the individual figures NECA has put out for Robocop. And right here is the Robocop 3 figure that they made, which is still pretty much the Robocop 2. Has that beautiful car paint that's not quite silver. You can see that he's got the blue sheen there. And this is probably one of my favorite Robocops right here. And even back here, the battle damaged one, he looks perfect. Alex Murphy looks great. And this Alex Murphy head sculpt totally looks like Peter Weller. It's amazing. So yeah, this is the line that has just kept me in the game forever, and I love it.
What a jerk that guy is. Jeez. But he did bring up the toys. In 2010, I was running the Toys R Us all the time, kind of looking for just random toys. I was more of a retro collector, and, you know, Toy Biz finished up Marvel Legends and Hasbro took over, and I was hunting them, but I wasn't always impressed. I wanted to build that blob, and I couldn't. And then TRU got a NECA section, a New Jersey-based company, and I saw this NECA figure. This is my first NECA purchase, other than not the movie Maniacs they made, but where they kind of made them statue-esque figures like McFarlane. I had a few of them. This figure took me back to the movie theater when I was a kid. It's like having a movie prop in your hand. It's perfect. It has that sheen, as Jerk mentioned. This is the original figure from almost 15 years ago, and it still holds up. Still one of my favorite pieces because it belongs to one of my favorite movies. And it's odd that in the 80s, you know, they really tried to make Robocop a franchise. There were kids' toys. There were knockoff toys, of course, with the Robert Cop. But Kenner had a 3 3/4 line. It didn't take off because parents didn't want their kids watching this, even though those toys were kind of based off the cartoon. But it was like, the cartoon didn't capture that magic. In my opinion, nothing captures that magic like the first film. And imagine so many things could have went wrong, like Schwarzenegger playing Robocop, or Stallone playing Robocop like it was rumored. Verhoeven getting the job, and directors being afraid that it was a Terminator ripoff. And what Verhoeven did, and we have, you know, scenes like the Jesus walk on water scene at the end, just for subtle things to make this movie above just an average sci-fi action movie. And I don't think any of that happens if the players involved weren't in this movie. The Miguel and the guy who played Dick Johnson and the old man. The stereotypical awesome like black police chief who's hard as nails. You know, at the time, Lethal Weapon and there's like Beverly Hills Cop, I think too. No, it was a white dude. I don't know, always think of the police chief as the stereotypical badass black dude. But it works in Robocop. He's awesome in Robocop. Everyone plays a part, and I think if just one thing is missing from that film, it isn't as special. Let's talk about the video game. The game doesn't try to be the cartoon, the comic. It tries to be somewhere between Robocop 1 and 2. And it feels gritty. It feels lived in. It's visceral. When you shoot people, body parts fly off. There's smoke-filled arcades. The streets are thick with like prostitutes and litter. Detroit is a mess. And there's subtle dark humor in there. Early on in the game, a guy is walking his dog, and you have to deal with it as Robocop. And Robocop, there's no nuance to him. Like, he doesn't play. Like, even if you made a mistake, he is so by the books that he writes the guy a ticket for his dog not being on a leash, if I can remember correctly. And it was done in a funny, satirical way. Really handled well. Other Robocop games, you know, you couldn't really do heavy violence on a Nintendo. And the Robocop vs. Terminator games were okay. This is the game you want if you want to have that original Robocop magic. You know, I'm not a film reviewer. I didn't go to film school. I just watch movies, and I just want to tell you why I like them. And it's something where we can have a dialogue where if you want to add in now why you think it's awesome, we could talk. That's what these videos are about. I'm not trying to be Chris Stuckham or Red Letter Media. I just want to add something to the channel. I hope you enjoyed it. As this goes on, I think I got to write scripts for this stuff because there's so many things in my head that I forgot. So I think the next time I will actually write a script. Anyway, if you can, like, comment, subscribe. As always, take care. Have fun.
Woo! Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah!